All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding a seriously fascinating business battle: how a homegrown Indian brand survives and actually thrives in the absolutely cutthroat cooling market. If you've ever wondered how smaller, highly specialized companies manage to grab a huge slice of the pie right out from under seemingly invincible international conglomerates, well, you're in the right place. We're going to unpack the underdog playbook of Cruise Air Conditioners, a brand that took extreme specialization and turned it into a formidable weapon. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. Meet the cooling expert. 2. Finding the target market. 3. The marketing mix strategy. 4. Taking on the giants. 5. Winning the digital game. And finally, 6. The road ahead. So this brings up that classic David versus Goliath question, right? How exactly does a local brand fight global electronics giants? On one hand, you have massive multinational companies with marketing budgets that seem practically endless, and on the other, you have a local specialist. Understanding how a hyper-focused brand takes on these generalized giants is exactly what we're going to unpack today. Honestly, it's a masterclass in strategic positioning. Okay, let's get into Section 1, Meet the Cooling Expert. Established way back in 1992, Cruise brings over 3 decades of extreme specialization to the table. That's more than 30 years solely focused on cooling appliances. In an industry where a broken AC in the middle of a brutal summer is basically a consumer's worst nightmare, trust and durability are absolutely everything. They aren't some startup just guessing at solutions. They've spent 30 years mastering the extreme Indian climate. And this is what's really clever. Unlike the big competitors who manufacture literally everything, from televisions to toasters and washing machines, Cruise engineered its entire identity around being the exclusive air conditioner expert. In fact, they actually act as an original equipment manufacturer. This means they build the actual heavy-duty machinery for several global HVAC brands totally behind the scenes. When you're the one building the machinery for the big guys, it gives you a profound technological edge when you go to sell directly to the consumer. Moving right along, Section 2, Finding the Target Market. Let's look at their STP: segment, target, and position. Instead of chasing the ultra-luxury crowd, Cruise is laser-focused on middle-income and upper-middle-income households, specifically in urban, semi-urban, and those rapidly emerging Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. They're going after budget-conscious families, small business owners, and first-time buyers who desperately want premium features but are highly sensitive to price. By positioning themselves as the air conditioner expert, they're promising heavy-duty cooling tailored for harsh Indian weather, but completely skipping that luxury price tag. Next up, Section 3, the marketing mix strategy. To pull this off, Cruise utilizes the classic 4 Ps to win over buyers: product, price, place, and promotion. And listen, every single one of these elements has to work in perfect harmony to convince a buyer to choose them over a heavily advertised global brand. So on the product side, they are focused on robust, heavy-duty tech. We're talking 100% copper condensers to prevent corrosion and boost lifespan, PM 2.5 filters that actually purify the air of microscopic dust, and 5-in-1 convertible tech, which is super cool because it lets you adjust the power consumption based on how many people are in the room. Some models even have smart Wi-Fi connectivity. The main takeaway? They aren't skimping on the tech. They're engineering units that can beat the heat while keeping energy efficiency high. Now, how do you price all those premium specs for a budget-conscious buyer? Well, you anchor it with a killer value pricing strategy. Their typical range starts right around 28,000 rupees and caps out near 60,000. The objective is incredibly clear: give the consumers the premium specifications they crave, but deliver them at an affordable mid-segment price point to completely undercut the massive premium brands. For place and promotion, they push these units by combining wide regional distribution like multi-brand retailers and e-commerce with really aggressive seasonal promotions. But here's where they add some serious flash. They bring in high-profile celebrity appeal, featuring stars like Sunny Leone, Sonal Chauhan, and Ellie Avram, to massively boost visibility and grab younger consumers' attention. Add that star power to easy monthly installments, cashbacks, and dealer incentives, and you've built a highly persuasive promotional engine. All right, Section 4, Taking on the Giants. When you actually line our underdog up against the giants, you see exactly where Cruise carves out its niche. LG and Daikin, they hold those high-priced premium tech spots. Voltas holds the medium-priced Indian premium spot. But Cruise perfectly threads the needle as affordable premium cooling with medium pricing. They're basically telling the consumer, hey, you don't need to pay luxury prices to get heavy-duty, premium technology. Let's do a quick SWOT analysis to see what's under the hood.
Strengths versus weaknesses. Internally, they have some massive muscle, 30 years of experience, a rock-solid value proposition, and that hidden gem OEM manufacturing expertise we talked about. But they definitely suffer from classic underdog vulnerabilities. They just can't match the brand awareness or those staggering TV ad budgets of an LG or a Samsung. Plus, in certain regions, their after-sales service footprint is a bit smaller.
Looking outward at opportunities and threats. The booming demand in emerging Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities is a huge runway for growth, along with smart home adoption and online sales. But the threats are real and immediate. They have to navigate insanely intense competition, dangerous price wars in that mid-range segment, and the constant headache of rising raw material costs and fast-changing consumer preferences. Which brings us to Section 5, winning the digital game. Since they can't afford to plaster every billboard in the country, they have to play smart online with highly targeted digital storytelling. They lean heavily on YouTube demos, product review videos, and influencer marketing to educate their buyers. By focusing on the actual tech and real-world product experiences, they cut right through the noise of traditional ads. It's a grassroots strategy, and it builds authentic trust with consumers who are doing their research online. Finally, Section 6, the road ahead. To really secure and grow their position, Cruise needs to make a few key strategic moves. First, crank up the digital advertising with regional language campaigns to connect with those Tier 2 and 3 markets. Crucially, they've got to expand their after-sales service networks in those areas to build long-term trust. They also need to be shouting about their OEM expertise in their marketing. Let people know you build the tech behind the scenes. And finally, leveraging verified customer reviews is going to be essential to closing that brand awareness gap. So we've walked through their entire underdog playbook, but I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. In a market totally flooded with massive global budgets and diversified electronics conglomerates, will extreme cooling specialization, a rich OEM history, and value-driven pricing actually be enough to conquer the giants? Only time will tell for sure, but Cruise strategy absolutely proves that you don't always need the biggest budget to make a massive impact. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning how the businesses around you are building their playbooks.